December 1944. The Allies are pushing across Europe, victory in sight. It feels like the war could be over by Christmas. But Hitler has one last desperate gamble up his sleeve. A massive surprise counteroffensive aimed at splitting the Allied forces and recapturing the vital port of Antwerp. This is the story of the Battle of the Bulge, the moment the Allies almost lost the war. Imagine this. You're an American soldier, barely out of your teens, stationed in the dense, snow-covered Ardennes forests of Belgium. It's considered a ghost front, a quiet sector perfect for training new troops and giving veterans a rest. The air is freezing, the snow is deep, and the biggest enemy seems to be the cold itself. Then, on the morning of December 16th, the world explodes. Over 200,000 German soldiers and nearly 1,000 tanks smash through the thin American lines. The sound is deafening, a relentless barrage of artillery that shakes the very ground you stand on. This isn't a skirmish. It's a tidal wave of steel and fury. The initial assault is devastating. The Germans, spearheaded by elite Panzer divisions, achieve complete surprise. They cut communication lines, sow confusion, and punch a massive bulge into the Allied front, hence the name, the Battle of the Bulge. For the American G is caught in the onslaught. It's a nightmare. They're outnumbered, outgunned, and fighting in some of the worst winter conditions in decades. Frostbite is as much a threat as enemy fire. Ammunition runs low, food is scarce, and the cold is a constant biting enemy. At the heart of this chaos is the small Belgian town of Bastogne. It's a critical crossroads, and holding it is essential to stopping the German advance. Rushed to defend the town are the paratroopers of the 101st Airborne Division, the Screaming Eagles. They arrive just in time, but soon find themselves completely surrounded by German forces. The siege of Bastogne has begun. The Germans demand their surrender. The American commander, General Anthony McAuliffe, sends back a legendary one-word reply that electrifies the world. Nuts. It's a defiant roar in the face of impossible odds. For days, the defenders of Bastogne hold on, their courage a beacon in the winter darkness. They fight off attack after attack, enduring constant shelling and freezing temperatures. Their stand becomes a symbol of American resolve. But they're not alone in their heroism. All along the bulging front, small units of American soldiers, often isolated and cut off, fight with incredible bravery. They delay the German advance, blow up bridges, and ambush tank columns, buying precious time for the Allies to regroup. These aren't generals making grand plans. These are ordinary soldiers doing extraordinary things, fighting for their lives and the lives of the men next to them. One of the darkest moments of the battle is the Malmedy Massacre. A group of over 100 American prisoners of war are gunned down in a field by an SS unit. News of the atrocity spreads like wildfire, and it hardens the resolve of every Allied soldier. The fight becomes personal. This is no longer just about territory. It's about justice. Meanwhile, the Allied High Command is scrambling. General Eisenhower makes a bold decision. He halts all other offensive operations and pivots his armies to crush the German salient. He famously tells his commanders, the present situation is to be regarded as one of opportunity for us and not of disaster. He unleashes the legendary General George S. Patton and his Third Army. Patton's orders are to race north and Dordogne will lead the besieged defenders of Bastogne. What follows is one of the most incredible feats of military logistics in history. Patton literally turns his entire army 90 degrees and sends them charging through the ice and snow. His tankers and infantrymen drive relentlessly, covering over 100 miles in punishing winter weather. On December 26, the lead tanks of Patton's Third Army finally break through the German lines and link up with the 101st Airborne in Bastogne. The siege is broken. The weather, which had favored the Germans by grounding Allied air power, finally clears. The skies fill with American and British fighter bombers. They unleash hell on the German columns, which are now stuck on icy roads, low on fuel and exposed from the air. The hunters have become the hunted. The tide has turned. Over the next month, the Allies slowly and methodically squeezed the Bulge, pushing the Germans back. The fighting is still brutal and costly. Every yard of frozen ground is paid for in blood. By the end of January 1945, the battle is over. The front line is more or less where it was before the offensive began. The cost is staggering. The Battle of the Bulge was the largest and bloodiest battle fought by the United States in World War II. Over 80,000 American casualties, including about 19,000 killed. The Germans suffered even heavier losses, losing irreplaceable men, tanks, and aircraft. Hitler's last great gamble had failed. He had thrown his last reserves into the fight and lost. The path to Berlin was now wide open.